when you choose to create your own reality. You enter the land of possibility when you choose to create your own reality. When you remove the victim mentality, you remove the excuses, you remove it's COVID, you remove it's pandemic, it's recession, it's my wife, it's my husband, it's my kids. When you remove all that and get back to what I said a little while ago, that you create at will, you create at will. There's no lack of money. There's no lack of opportunity. There's no lack of people. There's lack of you understanding how to get people.
Mike Agugliaro is a friend of mine. He runs a coaching organization over in the States. And he stuck his hand up and he said, I'd love to present to your tribe. And I thought, I can't think of anything more exciting than getting someone from across the big lake over to the other side of the world to chime in and tell us a bit about what it's like over in the States and also a bit of his success. He has built his trade company. He was an electrical contractor. He built his business up to 32 million. And then he was so sort of excited about this possibility that it actually took him into his next phase of his journey. But I'm not going to take his thunder away. I'm going to introduce Mike to the call, and he's going to tell you his story, and he's going to give us a bit of insight into the land of possibility. So, Mike, welcome to the call.
Yeah. Hey, David. Super excited to be here. So if you guys real quick, so I could get a feel of everybody, can you tell me where you're at and what you do? Where you're at and what you do in the chat bar. I know some of you just came out from back from breakout rooms. I want to make sure you can maintain super high level of energy for me. And also, I'm wondering if I could just bring you massive energy while I deliver this information. I did see, let's see here, Melbourne, migration agent. Any tradie? I thought I seen someone that had electrical something on here. I all of a sudden got really excited because I thought I saw electrical business. Let's see, offshoring, outsourcing, property buyer's agent, outsourcing specialist. All right, super great stuff. Here's what I'm going to share with you. Oh, there they go. Electrician in Melbourne. Okay, yeah, I helped. Who is that owns the electrician in Melbourne? Solo. So do you guys know a company, Service Today? Is that in Melbourne? Is that a big company in Melbourne? Whoever.
I'm not familiar with it, but
no. Yeah, it's a really big company I work with out there. So here's what I'm gonna make sure. I want to make sure I talk with you and not at you. If that's fair, can you type in fair in the chat bar? And even though I might be sharing things from my industry, some of my expertise, I want you to ask yourself, how can you apply what I'm going to share with you into your own business, okay? Now, I do have to ask one thing, David. So if I end up using any curse words or something because it just comes out, do we have any Italians here? Type in Italian in the chat bar. Like, okay, some hands went out. So, sometimes a curse word just comes out. Are you going to be freaked out at it? Potty mouth here. It's okay. I'll tell you what, if curse words come out, you just pray for me later and I'll be perfectly fine with myself, but you'll feel good about yourself too. Is that cool? Okay. So don't let it affect you. I'll try to keep it, but I don't want to show up for you for somebody I'm not. I want to show up for you exactly who I am. So let's dig in. I put together a nice slideshow. I'm going to make sure that not only do you reflect on my story a little bit, I want you to kind of see your story and how that could be changed. And I don't want to be here to just motivate you, even though you might get motivated some. I want to look for transformation. That's it. Because if we look for motivation, then guess what happens? Then what happens is all of a sudden I go away and you're thinking there like, uh-oh, what do I do now? So we're going to look for transformation. Now, the other thing is why I share things, if something really pops up in your mind and you're like, that's it. That's what I need to do. I got it. I want you to type in the chat bar, boom. Can you do a boom in the chat bar for me so I know you know how to spell it? Should be pretty simple. And if you want to be really cool, if you think that what I shared is going to translate into money, type in boom with $2 in the middle. Okay. So if I say something and you go, that's it, that's money, I'm in, boom with $signs. Now, this is called the land of possibility, a case study. And this is how the mind of a monster created a new reality and proved the world wrong. So right now you're like, I don't know. He kind of looks like a monster with those tattoos a little bit. First off, wherever you're at in the world, do anybody else have tattoos, or am I just going to feel weird the whole time here? Can you write in tattoo in the chat bar? Anybody else have it? I guess if you don't have them, okay. Good thing we got some people with some tattoos here, but some of you don't. So you still have time, right? It looks like we mostly have adults here. So your mom doesn't have to tell you what to do anymore, right? You could go get that cool ass tattoo you always wanted. Here's going to be our agenda. No thanks, he says. Here's going to be our agenda together. One, I'll tell you a little bit of who I am, because if I don't tell you who I am, why the hell are you even going to trust what I have to say? I'm going to share a case study with you, some of my experience and what I've done in life. And then the last part, I'm going to talk with you and give you some tactical information that you could apply in your business. If that sounds good, type in, let's do it in the chat bar. Now, this picture here is just to make you think I'm more intense than what I am, but I'll let you judge how intense I am by the end of this conversation. And they call me Hanchi. Do I have any martial artists here? Type in martial arts. I guess if you didn't do martial arts, maybe type in Cobra Kai. I guess if you watch that, okay, yoga counts. My daughter is a 200-hour certified yoga instructor. She's 19 now. Okay, judo, we're all in here. Between judo and yoga, we got it. So Hanchi is a term that they use for someone who's an 8th degree black belt or above. But you could just call me Mike today. Krav Maga, yeah, perfect. So I built this company, and I'll share a little more about it later, but it's important now, and it's called FuDog Group. FuDog Group these are what are called FuDogs. Do you have these things anywhere where you live? And they're mythical guardian lions. They're big, they're powerful, and there's normally a male and a female. Because what I want you to get through my conversation is a sense of balance for yourself, a new understanding, and a whole lot of power inside of you. Now, here's my martial arts background. That person with the beard on the bottom there, that's my son. He's 22 now. And any of you that typed in martial arts, if you have a son, I pretty much trained my toughest opponent ever. He has studied how I moved and walked and trained for 22 years. So at this point in my life, I only fear one human, and it's my own son. And I'm level 51 now. That's a more powerful way to say your age, because everyone else acts like they get older. And I'm literally faster, stronger, and more efficient and smarter than ever before. If you want to share what level you are, type in what level you're at. And we don't really know each other. So you could just lie if you want, and I won't know any different. And if you don't want to share, feel free. But that's a picture in our dojo. And I've been training martial arts now since I'm 15 years old. So you could do the math, well over 3 decades of learning how to be disciplined, how to be focused, and how to move forward. And I learned how to take all this martial arts experience and apply it to business. And I'll show you how that started to come together. Now, I'm also an electrician by trade. Okay, so that's really cool. So anybody who knows about electrical, you only go into electrical because you think it's scary and it could kill you if you make a wrong move, right? Like that's the person who wants to be an electrician. And so this is me right here. And so any of you guys that are in trades or any business at all, I can relate to struggle. Let's be clear. This here, 12 years of trying to figure it out. 12 years of not knowing how to hire people, keep people, get jobs, manage money, all the things that I had problems with. Probably a lot of things that David solves for you because he's great at helping companies solve problems. And I know what it's like to look at blueprints and like this here. If I was to show you, that's my favorite picture in the world next to the van because it reminds me of how hard it can be when you don't learn a different way. If you don't learn a different way. Now, based on putting in my time, really, really studying, working really, really hard, I've been able to become a speaker and an author. So I've written, now I'm on my 18th book. I'll probably put 4 or 5 more books out this year. And I've spoken in front of thousands of people about exactly what I'm going to teach for you today, teach you. And I've also spent time with guys like Jay Abraham. And I don't know, do you know Jay? Type in Jay if you know who Jay is. If you don't, put question marks. Jay Abraham happens to be the highest paid consultant on earth. Okay. So, you know, he's a serious dude. He's super, super smart. And like, if you don't know how to translate his brain, you're going to listen to a very impressive guy. He's going to confuse the shit out of you. Unlike myself and David, we could bring it down to where everybody can translate it and use the information. Now, I'm also a family man. If you're a family person, can you type in family in the chat bar? This is that's my beautiful wife. We were a very lower level at that time. We've been together since we're 15 years old. So we really figured out a whole lot of stuff on creating a relationship that stays together for a very long time. Here's my mom on the bottom left there. She had her face made up. We did this fun event that we ran and they decorated our face. This is like the Haka guys. You know, the Haka, type in Haka if you know those guys, or maybe New Zealand or something. We had real life, these New Zealanders, these guys come out and, you know, they got the skirt on and they're really intense. And yeah, the Kiwis, I was like, hell yeah, this is what it's about. My mom, they made up our face. And then up in the right here is my kids. This is when they were very young and martial arts was away inside our home. And we had a dojo in the house. And there's my family down the bottom right. My son is already an author of a book called The Modern Day Warrior. If you guys want a copy of that, ask David. I'll get him a copy. He could distribute it for free to you guys. It's a really good book that my son wrote. And my daughter already runs her own yoga business at 19 years old, virtual yoga business. And that's a picture of my son there looking like he's bodyguarding us there. So what you want to know from me is you want to know, like, how do you go from this to this, right? How do you go from, because I don't know about you, I have spent time and listened to a whole lot of gurus in my life. And I always wondered, like, you know, they tell you they go from this to that. And you always wonder if it's true. Like, I don't know, did they really do that? Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. That's a true picture of me. And this is a true picture of me. And I want to share with you some of the things I did to go from an electrician in a truck struggling to speaking to thousands of people and creating some pretty amazing stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you the information I'm sharing. I'm not looking for you to clap for me. I'm not even impressed with myself. I'm just sharing it because if I could just open up one new doorway of thinking for you, that's going to be really, really incredible. So let me give you a timeline of things. In 94, we start this company. Now, who's a business owner? Type in owner in the chat bar if you're an owner. Okay. So a whole lot of owners here. Now, why do you become an owner? Because of a couple things. One, you're pretty sure who you worked for. You can't stand working for people, right? Like, you're just not cut for a boss. I am not built to have a boss. I have too much information and too much feedback, clearly, to work for somebody. And bosses don't normally want all of that feedback and information. Now, by the time we got to 2012, I started to decide to really start growing my company. So let me tell you what this electrical company turned into here. Okay. In 2012, we were $20 million. It's a pretty big company. Would you agree? Type in $ in the chat bar if you agree. Okay. It's 20 million. By time 2017 came, we were 32 million a year, double-digit profit. I had 200 employees, 165 vehicles driving around the state of New Jersey. Do any of you live or ever come to New Jersey? Type in New Jersey if you have. And in 2017, I had the gift of somebody purchasing the company. They purchased the company. So New Jersey. So Adam, did you ever see these trucks, or Miriam, did you ever see gold medal trucks? I'd be curious. There's 165 of them in New Jersey, so I hope you've seen one. But I sold the company in 2017. And have any of you ever sold a company? Type in sold if you ever sold a company. Well, now they're going to be all over. You're going to see them everywhere now. In 2017, when I sold the company, here's something I do think is pretty impressive, Neville. I signed my name and walked away the next day. Now, that's a pretty impressive sale, right? Because most of the time you sell a company, you have to stay on for a period of time and you have to stay working, and it could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. This one, signed my name, walked away. So I did pretty good selling a $32 million company. But as I was working and growing that company, do any of you have friends in business that are struggling? Type in struggling if you do. You probably do. Or you're struggling, or you want more, or you wouldn't be hanging out with cool people like David, right? But you have friends that are struggling. And I had a lot of friends in the service industry that were struggling. So you go to did you ever go to your buddy's house and you're all excited because your business is doing good, and you say, hey, how's things going? You're like, business is great. How about you? And they go, not good. Can't find good people. Can't people this and that, right? And you go, oh, well, yeah, my life's not so good either. And you dim yourself. You dim yourself for other people. Well, I found out that in the service industry, there were so many people that were struggling. So I started this thing in 2014 called CEO Warrior. Now, people were like, what the hell is a CEO Warrior? It must be an executive or something, right? Well, what a CEO Warrior is an organization, a training and implementation organization that helps what some of you would call tradies or service companies grow their company faster than anywhere on the planet. So we had, in the last 12 months or so, I think 17 companies that we helped grow and sell. The last one sold for like 17 million. Pretty good deal from somebody that 5 years before only had $1 million company, and now they're a multi-millionaire. Well, I was having a ton of fun there. Excuse me. And 2020, guess what happened? First thing that happened was really kind of cool. We were looking for partners to come in, because if you want to scale a company to hundreds of millions, what do you need? Sometimes you need a partner to come in. And we had like 8 different partners. You ready? Smile with me. 8 partners ready to come in and help us. And COVID came in. And where did all the partners go? They all disappeared, right? So I was like, okay, well, this wasn't super fun, but it didn't matter because I was changing an industry. Well, they came back later, and in 2020, I did a partnership with a company called Corridor Capital. It was another sale in less than 4 years, 2 deals, 4 years, okay? Now that company, does anybody own a coaching company here at all? Put in coaching if you're a coaching type company or something, okay? That company sold 40 million in services in 2020, Cindy. So not a bad size for a coaching company, right? Doing $40 million in coaching. It's a big deal. So then it took me to this, and then I'm going to tell you how all this came about. So you have real tactical stuff to do. Is I went from this guy in a truck to all those exits and selling and building companies, to then starting this company called FuDog Group, which started in 2020, which is all about how do we change a person? And I'm going to show you how important this is to change you, okay? And I built all kinds of cool trainings that we do. We do like a training called Change the Channel, changing and shifting your identity. We're seekers of power, understanding. Type in, have any of you ever felt like you just need more energy? Type in energy in the chat bar. If you've ever felt like, man, I just need, can you give me a little more, right? And then we have ones like One Life and Unlocking Code. One Life is like, and write this down. In your life, you're either going to have a life by design or by default. Write that down, everybody. You're either going to have a life by design or by default. It's the same thing for your business. You're either going to have a business by design or by default. And then we do a cool one called Unlocking the Wealth Code, teaching people how to really get aligned with wealth versus a lot of people pushing away. And then I built something called the Freedom Tribe, where we get together every single week and we help people stay laser focused on themselves. Let's dig into some strategies here. Everybody in the world tells you, and it used to bother, I wanted to like throat chop people and say, it's all about your mindset. Did you ever hear this? Gavin, it's all about your mindset. You got to change your mindset. But let me ask all of you a question. If you take concrete, you pour it inside your mind and it sets, it's solid. Do you really want a mind that is set? It doesn't grow if it's set. It's stuck. See, I think people were telling you the wrong stuff. What you really want is mind growth. Is that true? Type in true in the chat bar if that's possibly true. So what I learned was, wait a minute, I don't want a set mind. I always want to be studying, learning, and curious. And I want to seek out experts and I want to learn from them to speed up success. Why else are you here? You're not here because you can't find a Netflix series or something, right? You're here because you're here to learn. And David said, you know what? I'm going to bring you something cool. You should show up and listen. And the other thing is, I want this time. If this time, by time we're done, is not worth 100,000, 500,000, or $1 million, I'll be embarrassed. I'm just telling you right now. And like Cindy said, you're either growing or you're dying. Let me share my thought on that, Cindy. I believe you're either growing or you're already dead and haven't realized it. Because the world is moving so fast, so quick, you don't have time to have relaxed growth. You need mind growth really, really fast. This happened to be a great time in a room with some really smart people. Jay Abraham, Dan Cashel, Aaron Hoos. This is Brian Kurtz. This is some brilliant people. And the only thing I look for, if I was sitting in your shoes right now, listening to me, I'm saying, what mind growth can I have here that will create a new catalyst in the way that my business is going to grow? Let's go to number 2. Identity and authenticity. See this picture here in the white button-down shirt. This is a guy just trying to figure shit out. That's me. I'm just trying to figure it out. This guy here, that's like my Backstreet Boy picture. This guy is really, really confused. He thinks he's all like GQ and stuff. Like he don't know what's going on and who he is. This guy on the bottom, that's who I really am. Now, I want to share something with you about identity and authenticity. When I went out and started helping people grow their businesses, I started to show up in this button-down purple shirt because everybody in my industry, that's what they did. All the gurus, all the coaches, ties, jackets, button-down shirt. And what happened was I was coming home and telling my wife, I was like, you know, this is killing me. Like, this is not me. I don't wear this stuff. I don't like it. It's on my arms. You can't see my tattoos. I'm always at it. Is anybody else like always very run hot? You know what run hot means? Like you're in a constant state of sweating. You're always like pulling up your sleeves. Like I have the window open here and it's probably, I don't know, 20 something or 30 degrees outside. And I have the window up. So in this room's probably 60 degrees or something, maybe a little colder. And I'm like, I can't do this. I told my wife. My wife made it super simple. Does anybody else have a wife that makes things super simple? She's like, just stop. Just stop doing it. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, this is good. I just threw out all the button-down shirts I had. David, I got rid of all of them. I don't have slacks. I don't have button-down shirts. I got rid of all of them. And then I made a decision that I'm going to show up the way I need to show up for me, my truest, purest self. Now, be upfront with me. How many of you are showing up for people the way you think they need you to show up versus the way you want to? I'll tell you how you know, because how you look on the weekends, probably how you probably look different on Monday, right? That's how you know you're showing up different. And I found out that identity changes everything. And you must understand your identity and you're authentic to yourself first. Now, the minute I went out and did that, holy shit, everything changed. Everybody, everything changed. All of a sudden, people want to listen to me. They want to follow me because they know one thing for sure. There's no act, and I'm going to get the truth. No act, and I'm going to get the truth. That took me on to this, right? Be myself. First, I had to understand mind growth. Then I had to understand how to be myself. Then I had to surround myself. I had to surround myself with great people. Now, I learned something about great people. One, they tell you this phrase. Did you ever hear this? Tell me in the chat bar. You'll become like the 5 people you hang around with. Did you ever hear this? Did you ever hear the people tell you this? Yeah. What a lie. That's such a lie. If you put me around 5 struggling people, I don't struggle. I create 5 successful people. You have to watch what people tell you, because the minute you take on someone else's truth, it becomes your truth. And that's your new frame of how you live. That's not true. I believe that what happens is it's not who you're around, it's how you're around people. Let me say that again. It's not who you're around, it's how you're around people. I don't know if you guys know this guy up here, Mike Michalowicz. He wrote Profit First, really great book if you never read it. Kevin O'Leary, you might know him from Shark Tank, and Jay Abraham. We had a small exclusive training me and him did together with like 15 people. Now, if you look at how you participate when you're around with people. Now, look, I know Jay for a long time, but when I met him, I say met him, he was sitting at an event a couple seats over from me. And do you ever be around somebody you know is impressive, you just don't even want to look at them? That was me. I was like, I'm not even going to look that way. Like, I felt like I wasn't even worthy to say hi to him. Later, I learned, well, wait a second. He's brilliant at a lot of things, and so am I, and so are you. You all have something you're brilliant on. The fact that you didn't hit the level you want of 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 million or whatever doesn't mean you're not brilliant. It just means you haven't leveraged your brilliance in the right way yet. Write this down, everybody. There's no lack of money. No lack of money. There's only a lack in your ability to go get as much money as you desire. That's it. There's no lack of money. I promise you. The world is abundant. You just don't have what you want yet, but it's there. And I'm going to tie some pieces so you can go get yourself some more money. Also, don't be like this guy one time said this to me. He said to me, David, it was so funny. He goes, Mike, those people that was, Mike, money's not everything. And I said, you're right. And very well said from a broke ass individual, right? It may not be everything, but to someone who's starving, it's everything. Let's get clear. Someone who's homeless, it's everything. So keep convincing yourself, trying to tell other people it's not everything, to try to make up for your ability to not go get what you want, right? I'll tie some more pieces around this as we keep going. Now, as I go to number 4, what I learned, I want you to type in something that's resonating with you now. What's impacting with you right now? Like, what is something that's clicking? Because I know you're writing, listening to me, and I move what they call, I go at the speed that's called New Jersey fast. Do you get that? But since it's recorded, David could give it to you and he could put it in the rest of the world slow, and you could dial it down and listen later at a slower pace. But for the amount of time, I want to give you as much as I can here. So what's something you picked up so far?
Hey, Mike, this is awesome. Let's get some people into the chat box, because I've got at least a page of notes here. And I love that question, because one day someone came into my practice and said, is it always about the money? Because I said, you're very money oriented. It's all about stuff. And I said, I'd slightly disagree. I think it's not about the money, but the money's the scorecard, right? The money tells me how much I'm contributing. So it's the money's the measure, right? It's like you said, it's in abundance. There's so much money out there, it's ridiculous, and the government's printing more. And we used to think that was bad because they're printing more, devaluing our money. But then I realized it's good because it's going into circulation. It means there's more up for grabs.
Yeah, and that's so great, David. And thank you for the feedback, everybody. And he made a great point. I always look at money like this. Money is the body and profit is the heart.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you could have a great body full of money, and if you have no heart, eventually it will die. The other thing is, I don't care what they do with the money. I don't care if they print more, steal more, move more, change more. Doesn't matter to me. When you look at yourself as a strategic person that can solve anything, you don't worry if the game changes because you're a game creator yourself. When I went through a recession, has anybody ever lived through a recession? Type in recession. Like in 2008 in the US, we had a very tough recession. I made at least an additional $1 million a year in my company in a recession based off of one phrase, David. You want the phrase, everybody? Type in, let me know, or tell me. I'll tell you the one phrase. Here's the phrase. I refuse to participate in this recession. I refuse to participate. And then the second phrase I told everybody is, we are the creator of our economy. My little economy, I was the creator of it. And that took me right through a recession. Let's go for 4. You guys are doing great. Badge of honor. I've done a whole lot of really intense training with all kinds of military guys. Here's Mike McCallowitz. This is a group of our people I talk to. This is my children when young. I learned that the way you have a badge of honor and leading in a way with high level integrity, you tell me today, I'm curious, the world as a whole, it's a big bracket, but let's just take a guess. Level 10, high level of honor, high level of integrity. Level 1, no integrity at all. Everybody's robbing from somebody. Where do you put honor in the bracket today? Not your honor, the world's honor. Where do you put it? 1 to 10. 1. Okay, so we got it real low. Like this is really, really bad. 7, 2, we're all over the place. Here's the deal. When you live with a badge of honor for yourself, number one thing of all success is being able to honor yourself. Now, how many of you need to do a better job at honoring yourself? You're so good at honoring others, and you're also good at deflating yourself and beating yourself up. How do you know? Like, your self-talk is negative talk or talk that doesn't serve you. So I think living with a sense of honor for you allows you to help others see you in a very honorable state. And how many of you would like to, how many of you need to hire more people, but you struggle with that? Anybody? Type in struggle. Does anybody struggle to hire people, or that doesn't happen here? Okay, so like my son would tell me, the struggle is real, right? I want to share something with you. And you may not believe it, and it's okay. I had 200 employees. Now, I went from 2 employees to 200 employees in less than 10 years. And I never struggled to get employees. And everybody turned around as, I don't know that. And I said, I didn't. I'll tell you why I didn't struggle. First off, people don't join companies. They join people. You guys know that. You're smart. They join people. And I knew that what people wanted in the world was the most powerful leader they can get. That's what they wanted. And everybody wants to join a powerful leader. But I did one thing in my companies, all my companies, that no one else did, and it was the X factor. Do you want to know the X factor? Type in X in the chat bar. I'll give you the X factor. I did one thing for all my employees. I fought for their livelihood every single day. That's what I did. And they knew I was fighting for their livelihood. And I was never a big believer in trying to hire A players. Do you know A players, what that means? A player. It's like you're trying to hire the best, the hot shot. Tell me if you ever learned this. A players are the biggest pain in the ass you'll ever hire in your life. They're needy. They try to change shit. They tell everybody everything's wrong. Type in A player if you can relate. Maybe you can't relate to this. Maybe it's just me. What I did find out is I could hire B players and create them into my type of A player. And I did one thing different than everyone else to turn B players into A players. You won't guess what it is. I'll just tell you. I changed them first. Before I made them better at their career, I made them a better father, a better mother, a better dad. I made them better with their friends. I made them better people first, and then everything else in the company was easy. How do you think you go to 32 million double-digit profits? You don't do it with shitty people. You do it with empowered, changed people. And that was my focus. Now, how many of you have employees? Type in employees if you have employees. Now, if you have employees, there's one thing you have to know about every single employee. Only one thing. Tell me what the one thing is. Let's see if anybody could get it. You have a crew. What's the one thing you have to know about every single employee? What motivates them? What drives them? Their why. Their why. And if you don't know the why, when an employee tells you this, well, why are you here working for me? Well, money. It's not for money. Money alone's useless, right? Money only has value because it purchased something that you desire, something that you want. If you don't know the why of everyone, then how can you ever commit to them and fight for their livelihood? Their why might be put kids through college, buy a bigger house. Is this value for you guys? Can you type in value in the chat bar if you're getting high value? And then let me expand your brain a little bit. Okay, thank you, everybody. So probably not a big thing. Create a personal vision. You're like, okay, create a personal vision. If I asked you what's your personal vision, you would say, big house, big company. And I go, okay, but like what type of house? You would say, bi-level, 5,000 square foot. But I would say where, and what does the lawn look like, and what type of furniture, and what colors the walls painted, and what does the kitchen look like? Like for someone to have a vision, it has to be so clear that while you explain it to me, I could smell what you're cooking in the kitchen. You get it? And most people don't have clarity of that level of clarity. They don't. So, but let me give you a different thing. If you think about your life 10 years from now, what do you want life to be? Probably not too hard for any of you, right? You go, 10 years, I'm 40, I'll be 50, I'll have more money in the bank. The kids will be grown up some. But what about if you looked at your vision 100 years from now? Now, some of you went like this, I'm dead, right? You're like, well, I'm already 50, so 100, I'm dead. And I'm like, you already killed yourself just like that, you're dead, right? Like, do you really know? I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make it to 140. So if you didn't think I was fucking nuts enough already, I'm telling you, I'm at 140. How do I know? I just did my blood check and they rate your inner age and I'm level 51, but my age says 10 years earlier, 41. So I'm beating it by 10 years right now. So I figure if I keep beating it, I got a good chance at this. But some of you, it's okay. If you want to die, 85, 90, 70, whatever, that's your choice. No judgments here. But what if you did stretch 100? Let's really expand, David, our minds. Let's just expand the create. What about this? What about what you learned today and implement? How will that affect 1,000 years from now? Now, some of you can't think 1,000. And David, I wonder if you could look something up for me. Type in and see if you could get oldest business in Japan and see if you could find how old the oldest business was in Japan. It's something like 12 or 1,300 years old. If you knew your business was going to go over 1,000 years and you stopped playing this small restricted game, what would you start to do different? Think about that. How mind powerful is this to think 1,000 years? Now, 1,000 years, they'll probably have to connect the timeline from Mars or something else, right? They want you to believe. Yeah, how many years is that, David? 578 AD. Do some, I don't even know how to do the math there, but it probably says it, right?
So it's about 1,500.
1,500 years. You're thinking Sears or one of these other companies been around a long time. What about your company, 1,500 years? Now, what about you track the timeline 900 years from now? They're like, oh, let's see what David did on for me, it's February 2nd. It's 10 after 5. And they go back and now they're on Mars and they got to track it to the moon. They got to track it to Earth. And then people are like, oh, what do you think? Oh, wait a second. I forgot, David. We are not living on Mars, but they're already sending pictures from there. Like they figured it out yesterday and now we get pictures. Like, come on, you can't be crazy enough to think that we're not already living other places. They'll never want you to know that. You'd freak the hell out. Me, I'm excited. I'm wondering what kind of fucking city I'm going to build somewhere in another planet, right? Let's go build some stuff somewhere. That's anybody in? Type in all in. That sounds fun. But what about if we expand 1,000 years? And everything you do today, tomorrow is, David's all in with me, a bunch of you all in. What you do today is literally going beyond and beyond. Pretty fucking powerful if you ask me. So if you want to know what this tattoo guy thinks about, I think in the realm of thousands of years. Because then you're not living just for tomorrow or the next day. You're living an expanded thinking. Now, here's what I learned with number 6, build a movement. Every single thing I built is a movement. And a movement starts with just one person believing in what you're doing. This here at Gold Medal Service in New Jersey, what I built was a movement because I wanted to raise the standard, change the way that service was delivered in New Jersey. I don't know about you, but the service was not good and not on time, and people didn't return calls, and the people were sloppy looking and dirty jobs and not honorable. And that was horrible. And I said, that's it. I'm going to change the way service is done in New Jersey. And I did it. And people thanked me. Competitors would thank me because I raised the bar so high. Guess what? It forced them to pull up with me. They made more money. They were just like, oh, gold medal was here. Shit, I'll just charge a couple thousand more and I'll be like, they made money following me. But then I decided another movement. Here I talked about a little bit, CEO warrior, creating and changing the service industry. I wanted there to change it so that these guys could live longer. I don't know if you have a plumber, electrician ever worked for you. Like these guys have bad knees, bad elbows, and they're going to die early, die lonely, and die sick. I'm just telling you right now. And the suicide rate and depression and drug addiction in this is crazy. It's crazy. They don't know how to communicate to their wife, their kids. This is horrible. My job was to change the industry, not just the way they delivered. I didn't want to make people rich and dead. Do you guys ever have a friend that became wealthy but not healthy and died? Like what fun's that? Or how about this? You became wealthy and divorced. How'd that work out for everybody? Was that a good game? I wanted to change the whole dynamic for it. And then that's what brought me to the Freedom Tribe, saying, wait a minute, if I could teach people how to be better them, this rest of the stuff is easy. This is based on going back and reflecting on all the shit I did wrong and all the stuff I did good. Now, number 7, this is where I'm gonna put a stake in things for you right now. Okay. In order, you hear people, you know the people, they're all talking about 10x, right, David? You got to 10x things, 10x things. Everywhere you turn, 10x. Here's what they're not telling you. You got to 20x yourself to 10x your business. Let me say it again in case you're falling asleep on me. You have to 20x yourself to 10x your business. Let me make my point here. If you look at this wheel here, okay, and we look at career and work as your business, that is 1/10 of this wheel, 1/10. And most people focus everything they can on the 1/10. Well, let me ask you a question. Over here, partner in love. When you're in an argument with your partner, fighting with your wife or your husband, are you thinking anything about your business in that moment? Type in the chat bar. No, you're not. You're not thinking nothing but, I got to get this relationship back on track. Otherwise, you fight, business gets destroyed. Is that true? Type in true if that's true. Maybe not where you live. Maybe there's a total harmony. It's like, Wizard of Oz or some shit. Now, what about this? Let's go for another one. Health and fitness. If you're sick, now I experienced COVID in October 1st. Man, that bitch came in like we fist fought, me and COVID. I mean, it gave me 8 days of a fever and I wasn't mad at it at all. When I got it, I said, let's do this, baby. Let's take it on. I had no fear of this. Let's go rounds. Man, I had the fist fight with that bitch. But do you think I thought of anything else when I was sick? You think I was thinking of business? I thought of nothing but getting healthy. If you look at all these other areas on here, here's what I figured out. If you nail the 9, the business is a walk in the park. When those 9 are in harmony and working, business is easy. When I look at people that focus majority on business, David, you know what happens? Business grows and they destroy everything else. Look at spiritual belief, whatever you believe in. If you don't believe in whatever higher power, Jesus, I don't care what you believe in. It's up to you. I have no judgments of people. I believe people have the choice to believe what they want to believe. But if you lose your belief in something or anything, or your belief is there's a nothing, your business gets affected. I want you to take away one thing from this. What are you doing to 20x yourself? 20x yourself. That's what you wanted to write that down. Because this one slide here, if you get this dialed in, everything is easy. And this ain't new to you. You've probably seen life wheels before. You probably just never understood it at this level. They tell you, oh, fill it in like this. And okay, that's a rocky road and it can't roll. Yeah, of course it can't roll. Well, let's not look at it that way. Let's not look at it that way. Let's look at it at this. Let's get these areas here. Let's get them here. And let's move it as quick as we can. If that makes sense, can you type in boom in the chat bar for me? Because some of you probably need to hear it and maybe some of you don't. But I'm sharing with you. Now look, in the last 4 years, okay, multiple companies sold. I can't give you exact numbers, but let's just say, over 70 million, a whole lot. I'm telling you what I learned right here. And I'm not telling you for any reason because I'm not here to sell you nothing. I'm telling you because I care so much about you and I care so much about what David's doing that I just want you to hear the message. Let's go for number 8. Relentless execution. Relentless execution. Okay. If you have an inspiring vision, you guys tell me, okay, ready? How many of you have read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek? Type it in, 4-hour. Did you ever read this book? 4-Hour Workweek. Is that a common book for you guys? Okay, bunch of people. So I run into people and it's funny when you're successful, Gavin, you run into the people and they go like this to me. They say, yeah, I run a company and I only work 2 hours a week. And I go, oh my God, I am so sorry. How can I help you? The fact that you hate what you do so much, you only wanted to do it 2 hours. I got to tell you, how can I help you, man? Because I got to get you fucking out of this thing. We got to kill that thing. And they go, because they thought the thing to hang their badge on is I only work 2 hours. No. So that's horrible. It's horrible. And then someone else told me, well, I can't wait to retire. I said, how bad do you hate it? You want to quit it? You like, just quit it now. Let's build something that you love. I don't ever work a day. I might be barbecuing fucking hamburgers, thinking about building something for somebody. My mom says, you're always thinking about something. I said, oh my God, I love it. Because when I stop thinking, Mom, I'm dead. Don't wish me dead. Wish me to keep thinking. It's like the book Think and Grow Rich. Do you know that book? Type in Think and Grow Rich. I spoke in front of like 1,000 people, everybody. Okay? 1,000 people. And I go like this. How many of you have read Think and Grow Rich? And they all go like this. You know, the hand of pride. Look at me. I'm like everyone else. And then I go like this. Okay, be honest with me. Put your hand up if you're rich. Fucking all the hands go down. 10% are up. I go, okay, the book's pretty good. Maybe it's the wrong book. Maybe you're the wrong person. Maybe you're looking for the wrong significance. You read the book, you're not fucking rich. So I'm thinking something's broken here. Do you guys agree, or am I just whacked here? It's the wrong damn book. Or you're reading it the wrong way, because if you read a book, Think and Grow Rich, well, then that means I better think and take action and become rich. That book didn't make me rich. It has good stuff in it. It didn't make me wealthy. Everything else I'm telling you has created abundance of wealth for me. And I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it because I will only be happy if David reaches back to me tomorrow, next week, in a year and goes, holy shit, this guy, remember that guy on there? He just became wealthy. And it was from that talk. I'm like, yes, good. Let's do it. Consistent action. Okay, you guys are like, I get it. I help people. Consistent action, do the right. No. Let me show you something. How many of you lift weights? Type in weights in the chat bar. Do you lift weights or you exercise? You pick up a 25-pound weight. All right, some of you are like, Mike, you're not that strong. Okay, 25 pounds. And I start curling 25 pounds. And I just do it every day and I keep going. Does my muscle grow this big with 25 pounds? I'm being consistent, right? David, I'm being consistent every day, 25 pounds. My muscle grows like this? No. It's not consistent action. It's consistent changing of actions. Consistent changing of actions that makes a difference. Here, everybody, I don't know. I'm going to solve a question. So when we get to Q&A, you guys don't have to ask me this question because people always ask me this question. David, they go like this. Mike, what is your morning routine? And I go, oh, okay. Well, I wake up about 7 or 7:30 with no alarm clock whenever I wake up. And I normally roll over, stretch a little bit, and then I fucking push on Facebook and I kind of look at what's going on and what are people behaving like. Then I go take a shower and they go, what? No, a guy like you know, in my service company, I created hundreds of millions in a couple of years. I mean, I served 32,000 customers a year. They said, guy like you must get up at 4:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I would vomit at 4:30 in the morning. I don't get up because you read some fucking book that tells you to get up at 4:30 or you're a loser. I've created greater than the 1% of the world. Now, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just giving you my framework. My morning's my most powerful morning. When I wake up, I'm building. I'm not weightlifting. I watch people that are so alive in the morning go lift weights. Lift weights when you're half dead to become alive. Here's what I want to tell you. If it was one routine and it made everyone successful, you'd all be successful. I'd be listening to you and I'd be honored to listen to you. What I want to tell you is it's not a one size fits all. It's your size. Take things, test it, put it. If it works, do it. And if it doesn't, don't. Most of the time people are like, oh, that guy Mike created success. He must be meditating at 6 a.m. for an hour straight. I said, look, if I sit to meditate, it's to either find enlightenment or solve a fucking problem. I don't sit there for no other reason but that. I'm either going to gain information from a place I don't know, or I'm going to find information from a place I do know and make a decision, right? If I need stress release, if I can either go to sleep or get a massage or hang out with my kids or something. Maybe it's a little thinking. I get it. I'm a little different. My wife says you're like a fucking purple unicorn. We know they exist. No one's ever seen one before, right? Unstoppable energy. Unstoppable energy. You're probably like, Mike showed up. He probably did the trampoline thing for a couple minutes. Like I bounced, I punched the wall a little bit and I was like, hey, David, I'm here. No, I didn't do that. Like I'm the same way when David and I talked, whatever, a week or a couple of weeks ago, as I am here. And anytime David's seen me, I'm the same, right? Because just so you know, unstoppable energy is created and it can grow by one thing and one thing only. What do you think the one thing that can create greater levels of unstoppable energy for you? Tell me what you think it is. Type it in the chat bar and I'll tell you. It's only one thing. Integrity, that helps. That helps. Removing resistance. Write it down, everybody. Removing resistance. Now, I've removed resistance for my whole life. Now, I'm not judging. Remember, what you do, you do. I've never done drugs my whole life. I never smoked cigarettes or anything my whole life. I never drank alcohol my whole life. None of it, ever. I haven't drinking caffeine in 10, 12 years. I haven't eaten gluten in 10, 12 years. And people look at me and they go, oh my God, this guy's energy. Tell my wife, how do you deal with it? He's like, well, I deal with him because I've been with him since 15. The point is, if you remove resistance. Now, am I saying that's easy? Italian guy, fucking Italian, garlic bread with cheese and shit. I'm not telling you it's easy. But if you want to live and run at the highest performing level for yourself, you want to take your company 10x, 20x, 100x, you think you got a better chance of doing it, removing resistance from yourself and how you move forward? Or do you think stacking resistance, like just kind of drink and eat yourself to death? Like, and I'm not, look, I like some chocolate. I'm human, right? I like all these other things too, but I pay attention. Right? Okay. Let me stop there 1 second. Is that a question mark or a typo of a question? David, what do we got there?
I think it's a typo, Mike. I think people are just sort of thrown back in their seat from your energy.
Okay, good. Then we're doing perfect here. Let me share this with you, and then we're going to open it up for some Q&A. We tracking on time, David? We're doing good?
Yeah, we're doing well. We've got time for Q&A too.
Okay, good. Let me share this with you, what I learned. I've been on my own since I'm 15 years old. Anybody else on their own very young? Just type in too young in the chat bar. It's very young, okay? I always call myself a survivor of a bad Italian divorce. And I ended up living with my 17-year-old. Okay, so we got some people could relate. Living with my 17-year-old brother. That's the basement I told you. Like I was living in a basement. My bed was, I looked at the ceiling, it was just rafters and wires. And I went to a vocational school. Do you guys have trade schools in where you live? You know what a trade school is? Like there's a conveyor belt and it's like, pretty smart college, Mike. Probably an electrician. So shove his ass to trade school, right? That's how it works in the world today. It's like, you're fit for here. No fucking way. Don't waste your time on college. Seemed to work out pretty good for me, right? And I remember as a young kid, I got in this kind of little argument with some family members in a mall. And that person in the picture with the big afro, that's what my wife fell in love with. Okay, that big crazy, that's my Italian grandmother there. I probably have a chain wallet, old school, big leather wallet, chain, combat boots. That's who I was. Nobody you would want to be friends with at that age because I was not a happy person. I was a very angry person. And I remember laying on my bed that night after the situation, after I pretty much flipped them the finger, probably said a whole bunch of curse words. And I was really not angry at them. I was more angry wondering if they were going to be right. They said, you're going to be like the rest of them. Now, I didn't know what the rest of them were, but I'm thinking the rest of them were not a good thing, right? It was a bad thing. So I laid in my bed that night and I was kind of just playing through my mind. Now, just to give you a picture of this bedroom, it was really hot down there. And I rolled a portable air conditioner and held the blanket and dripped the condensate from like an air conditioner in a bucket, just so I could sleep in the room. Pretty hardcore. Not like homeless, but a little bit above that in this apartment me and my brother lived in. And I remember just sitting there going, what's my life path? And this one path was going to be like the kids in the school, the trade school. Just so you know, the trade school I went to back then, snorting cocaine in the back of the bus, They would take sheets of acid. Do you know what acid is? I never took it. Shit it's got like a Joker or something. They put like a whole sheet of it in a coffee pot, David, and they would drink it in school, and then they would teach people how to do electrical work. And the shop person, the teacher, was too stupid to know that they were drinking coffee with acid in it, and their brains were just fucked. And I remember thinking, oh my God, is that where I'm going to go? I'm going to be like this burnt out criminal type person. And then I got this voice, and maybe it will be a voice you'll find now. Maybe you found it. I don't know for you. And I don't know if it was God, universe, whatever it was, David. It said this: prove the world wrong. And wow, I give it, just so you know, I did 3 talks today. This is the first one I'm getting emotional and I could feel it. The other, I just did 3 talks before this. Same talk, same thing. And when I heard that, you do that thing like it's your voice, it's your intuition, whatever. And then I heard it again louder, and I just got the message like, that's it. You can't do what everyone else is doing. So I became salutatorian in school, which was, don't give me credit for it. It was only about 350 kids. I was number 2. Fucking everybody was on drugs. Not really too impressive. But the guy who got number 1, he didn't have a girlfriend, and I was with my beautiful wife. So he had a lot more focus than me, right? And, I kind of wonder, like, when are you ready? If you think about this 1,000 years, and maybe you'll type it in the chat bar, like, when are you ready to prove your world wrong? Like, when are you ready to prove another level for yourself? Because I know so many people so damn complacent in their life. And I could see a bunch of you look very successful to me. But has success slowed your ass down? Has success stole motivation? Has success made you too comfortable? It's funny, my wife and I, we have a house here. We have another house, a couple houses down. And we sit here, and it's so interesting. As you become more successful, you want less. Anybody else reaching that? We literally get rid of shit now. We're like becoming minimalist. It's like you get to a point you could buy anything and you don't have to work. The next 10 generations don't have to work, and you want less. The only thing most important to you is like time and connection with family and changing lives. That's why I'm with you here today. So I'm wondering when it's your turn to prove the world wrong. Let me end with this quote here. You enter the land of possibility when you choose to create your own reality. You enter the land of possibility when you choose to create your own reality. When you remove the victim mentality, you remove the excuses, you remove it's COVID, you remove it's pandemic, it's recession, it's my wife, it's my husband, it's my kids. When you remove all that and get back to what I said a little while ago, that you create at will. You create at will. There's no lack of money. There's no lack of opportunity. There's no lack of people. You know how many people are on earth for you to say, well, there's hard to find people. What is there? 1 billion people on earth or something? You can't find 1 out of 1 billion? How many people live where you live? No, there's no lack of people. There's lack of you understanding how to get people. So some of you here, this is only because of David. I do have a book coming out. Be free. If you guys want it, you could take a picture of this and get it. I have a Facebook group that talks all about life. There's no business. You want business education, you hang out with David. He's amazing at it. If you want to come and find out like how the other day, David, I was in my medicine cabinet in the bathroom, and how a bottle of my wife's nail polish fell and hit the tile floor and literally exploded like a fucking grenade and destroyed the wall. And my wife was happy. She says she always wanted to paint that bathroom. Like, you'll find some of that cool shit in this Facebook group. I talk all about life and mind power. It's called Personal Growth and Mindset Mastery. So if you want to hang out there, plus I didn't come here to talk. I came here to find some new friends too, right? So find me on Telegram and Facebook, so that as you create success or you implement something here, I want you to tell me, or at least tell David, so David could come and tell me, because I didn't want this to be just a social gathering. I want it to be very tactical and strategic for you guys, so you could hear a cool story, get a new sense of hope, and then execute relentlessly. And I want all of you to prove the world wrong. So someday I look and I go, oh my God, that was so great. And I don't know if I'll be looking at your success 100 years from now, or 140, or who knows, 1,000 years from now. I can't wait to see it. So let's open it up, David. Thank you for letting me share this. Let's do some fun Q&A until you tell me I'm done.
Oh my God, how good was that? Mike, you've just raised the level of energy by an amazing amount. And look, I'd like to see in the chat box, what did people get out? What was the takeaway? So what did people get out of this? If they'd like to share, they can type in share. If they have a question, they can type it in the chat box. We'll get them on. That was amazing. That was amazing. I think you sort of blew the doors off a couple of self-limiting beliefs for people. And we don't think about 1,000-year plans. We talk about 100-year vision, and now 1,000's just upped it up to the ante for me. But wow. So what did you learn? Let's see something going in the chat box. And who's got any questions of Mike? What's his morning routine? No, we want to know what his evening routine is. How do you keep the energy up, Mike? How do you keep it?
It's self-created at will. So I don't keep it up. It's just always there. If you do any studying, you actually have as much energy as like a star in the sky. You just don't understand how to live within it. So the world makes you think you have to create it. You don't have to create it. It's already there. You just have to turn it on and leave the sucker on. That's it. And of course, I do a lot of, how many of you have business KPIs? You know, KPIs, type in KPI, key performance indicator. My question is, how many life KPIs do you have? Many people don't have it. You know, I have a sleep KPI. I use one of these Oura rings and I check my sleep. And I ask myself that day, like, if I ready, do anybody else have an Oura ring? Type in Oura ring. If my score is really low, I said, man, I got to reset. I have to adjust. Right. And then I'm trying to always find a way to optimize myself, paying attention to when I eat and if I'm doing a protein or whatever it is. And I just try to focus on it. And when you remove the resistance, you just allow more of that star like power to come out.
Yeah. So the key message is remove the resistance, not keep the energy high. There's two good questions here. So Marianne's asked the question, you mentioned people want to work with a powerful leader. What is a powerful leader?
Yeah, and hold that one because there's one right above it before. What was the key trigger for your growth for business to super business?
Yeah.
This is such a great question here. Let me answer that for you. My son, my first child was going to be born. And I ran from a job to the hospital for my son to be born, just made it in time. And when my son was born, I went home that night, and you guys know the women, probably, you know, the rocking chairs, they're kind of like gliders, right? My wife was going to breastfeed. So I went home that night and I put together this glider. And once I got it together, I sat in the glider, might've been 9 o'clock at night. My wife was at the hospital with my son, Michael, and my son was born 5 weeks early on my birthday. Get that.
Birthday.
And I sat in this chair and I broke down crying. I couldn't believe it. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to do what my dad did to me, to my new son. This is what's going to happen to me. I'm going to miss everything he has. I'm not going to be around on weekends. I'm not going to be there for him. And it was killing me. And I knew in that moment, things had to change. So that was the first catalyst. The second catalyst is I had a business partner who's has been a business partner in all my businesses, and we own buildings together. And he came in one morning, and David, he said, I'm out of here. And I said, now listen, we were working in the field. So do you have lunch trucks out there, David? You know, like trucks pull up and they have food.
Yep.
I mean, we had lunch trucks, and the guy would go, hey, come here. My wife made you these empanadas, and would go in the back and pull out these little, do you ever eat like an empanadas? And they pull it out. So I thought my partner was sick. I thought he had a case of the craps or something. And he said, no, I'm out of here. I'm done. I can't do this business no more. You're moving way too fast. You're young. I was training 7 nights a week in martial arts. He goes, my knees are burnt. I'm out. That was the second catalyst. And I told him, if you're out, I'm fucking out. But I said, what if we just don't know what we're doing? What if we just have to find someone who knows what to do? And that's when we started investing. Now I'm going to give you a number of what I've invested in myself in the last probably 15 years. And most of you are going to think it's bullshit, but I could prove it. To date, it's probably $2.7 million in my own education in the last 15 years. I spent 100,000 plus on my own education last year. And I think I'm pretty fucking smart, but I learned something. The more you expand. Now, is knowledge power, everybody? Is knowledge power? Some of you are like, yes. Some of you are like, he's setting me up. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You get that? Because knowledge alone, like my brother-in-law is so smart and struggles. He's way more brilliant than me, but does fucking nothing with it and always struggles, right? So what I learned was, you know what? Based on those things, man, invest in yourself and move forward. That was the catalyst for me. So anytime I'm in a program, I have a mentor like David does. And anytime I'm in a program, I take the highest level program and I have one mission and one mission only. I said it in the beginning, master that human. That's all I want to do. Master that human and study them till I know how they think, walk, talk, and breathe, and then apply it in my life. So now let me get to the second question. People want to work with a powerful leader. What's a powerful leader? I'm going to share what I did. So I was your traditional leader. Man, did you ever hear this death by meetings? Another meeting, another meeting, another meeting. You're in there, you're constantly fighting. They never do the paperwork right. And I made a decision that I was going to shake everything up. So you guys know AC/DC, the band? So I'm going to have a meeting and I get these big speakers and they know at 7 a.m. meeting and the doors are shut and all you hear is Thunderstruck playing. And a guy opens up the door and they look in and I'm like, come on in. And I just unleashed a new level of power. Now they thought I lost my mind. They thought I lost all reality. And I sat there and part of the talk was I apologized to them for being a weak ass leader. I've been, and I'll use the language, so judge me if you want. I was like, I've been a bitch of a leader. I've been a shitty leader. I've been a complainer. I've been angry. I've been nasty. I'm not the leader you deserve. And I'm just asking for you to to accept my apology. And will you give me permission to be different and better? And they all started to turn around. You're not that bad. You're not this. And I did this talk through growth, probably 3 different times, just so you know. About every 10 million, I had to give I'm a shitty leader talk again, trying to figure it out. And I sat there and say, we are going to show up to this building. I'm going to change your life. You're going to change other lives. And when we walk through that front door, we kick that fucking door up. We kick it open. And when you walk in that door, I want you to walk in like this. So I found out I needed to get out. Now, look, you guys are not going to believe what I'm going to say right now. You're not. David, I'm an introvert at heart. I am. No one believes it. If you had a party and invited me, let me tell you what will happen. I'll show up and I have to find a corner and one person to talk to. And if that person has to go to the bathroom, I'm going to act like I'm on my cell phone and then I'm out of there. And I tell everybody, any party I go to, I say, look, if I don't say goodbye, don't be offended. I don't do well in these situations. I can live in a cave alone, but there's nobody's life to change in the cave but fucking crickets and bats. So I come out of my introverted self to deliver. But when I'm done with you, I will go in the other room, nice and quiet. Me and my wife will eat dinner, probably watch something. And we just we'll walk on the street, take the dog for a walk, or go to the beaches right down here. And so most people don't believe that. So a powerful leader is a leader that I believe will step out of his comfort zone to serve his people and then step back into what he wants to be or his introverted self. And I had to change for them to change. When I raised my energy, guess what happened in the company? Everybody's energy raised. Everybody's energy raised. If my energy lowered, their energy lowered. They believed in me because, ready? I believed in me. I believed in me. And if you want to know what my culture was like, and if you might be lucky enough to find some videos on my Facebook of when I was running meetings and stuff. My culture, if I was talking to 200 people and I was on our little stage or something, if you came in and tried to kill me, they would have ate your face off, David, before you got 10 foot in that room. I sold in 2017, and the loyalty of these people still today. A guy came and fixed my air conditioner. He's been fixing it since I sold. I tried to pay him. He goes, I will never take $1 from you ever. You changed my life forever. That's the loyalty I built. And I took it. It wasn't a ploy to get them to work. I cared about these people. I cared about their lives. I cared about their families. And look, when you grow a company, you experience a lot of things like, people have babies, people have things, they break up in their families, and they have divorces, and people die on your, and then you have employees die. I've lived through all of that, and lawsuits. They want someone who will just stand strong, and you just find yourself. Just find your most powerful self. Don't be me, be you.
Yeah.
But be the you that's been waiting for you to be you, not your mom's you or your dad's you. They told you, don't behave this way. Don't dress that way. Don't say those things. Don't stand that way. They did their best to form your life when you were 10.
Yeah.
A lot of adults, I watch them when they're around their parents. They're 50 years old. I look at them because I watch people and I go, did you even know you turned 10 years old the minute you were around your parents? Your dad started to telling you what to do. You're 50 years old, God forbid. Like, don't you have a decision anymore? And I go, oh, I didn't know. I said, you don't know because you're not watching the film. I'm watching your film. And I'm not saying be nasty. I'm saying be you. He has his life. Your mom has her life, and you have your life. And you only have one life as far as we know right now.
Awesome. Mike, this has been so good. So good just to hear your story. You did drop the F-bomb a couple of times. I think I counted, but that
probably
was awesome.
30, but you pray for me. I'll be fine. I promise.
I'm going to do that during the break. So first of all, I'd like to make sure that everyone just sort of acknowledges and says a big thank you to Mike. So please unmute yourself and give Mike a big ho-ha and a thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Well done.
Great. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
So much, Mike. Great.
Thanks,
Mike,
Mike.
it's been great. Really appreciate you coming on the call today. It's been awesome. And I know people have got a lot out of it, and I'm going to hear about it for the next few weeks. So really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Honored to hang with all of you. Love you guys. I'm rooting for you. Go prove the world wrong. Boom.
Awesome.